The day Amina Brooks walked into Hanseong Global was the day her life quietly ended. She thought she was attending a job interview. She did not know she was stepping into the territory of a man feared by investors, hunted by rivals, and obeyed by silence. Kang Jae-min does not raise his voice. He does not make threats. People disappear long before that becomes necessary. She should have run when the elevators emptied. She should have apologized when he challenged her. Instead, she met his gaze. And he hired her. What begins as an interview turns into forced proximity inside a world where doors lock without warning and meetings end lives. Late nights. Closed floors. Men who watch without blinking. And a man who starts breaking his own rules just to keep her close. Then the city starts watching. A photograph leaks. A warning appears on her desk. A car follows her home. And the most dangerous man in Seoul chooses her safety over his empire. But obsession has consequences. She is taken in broad daylight. Bound. Isolated. Used as bait. While she fights to survive, he unleashes everything he controls to get her back. By the time the building burns, denial is no longer an option. Love was never part of the plan. Neither was marriage. Forced into a public union to save an empire, they stand side by side as violence crashes their wedding day. Enemies close in. The law circles. And just when she thinks the danger cannot get worse, she discovers she is carrying his child. So the question is no longer whether she can survive his world. The question is what happens when love becomes his greatest weakness and his most powerful weapon. Would you stay or would you run? People in Seoul's financial district learned early to read silence. When conversations stopped mid-sentence and elevators cleared without explanation, it meant one thing. Kang Jae-min was nearby. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He simply arrived, and men twice his age remembered appointments elsewhere. Jae-min controlled one of the most feared organizations hidden beneath the polished surface of the city. To the public, he was the reclusive chairman of Hanseong Global. To those who knew better, he was a man whose decisions rewrote lives overnight. That morning, the building hummed with tension as a new candidate stepped through the glass doors. Amina Brooks paused just long enough to straighten her blazer. She had flown in from the United States with a single suitcase and a resume most assistants would kill for. She did not lower her gaze when security scanned her. She did not rush when the receptionist hesitated at her name. Her curls framed her face naturally, untouched by the sleek styles the office favored. Her heels clicked calmly against the marble floor as she followed the assistant manager toward the private elevator reserved for executives. Inside, the air felt heavier. The assistant cleared his throat. Mr. Kang does not appreciate wasted time. Neither do I, Amina replied calmly. The doors opened to a silent floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed Seoul stretched beneath gray skies. At the far end stood Kang Jae-min, hands in his pockets, expression unreadable. His gaze lifted slowly, assessing her with the sharp precision of a man trained to notice weakness. She met it without flinching. "You are late," he said. "I arrived on time. Your security delayed me." Most candidates would have apologized. Jaemin's brow lifted slightly. "Sit." Amina took the chair opposite him, crossing her legs with control. The interview was not polite. It was relentless. He questioned her decisions, challenged her credentials, dismissed her experience. She corrected him once, then twice. When he accused her of being unprepared for the pressure, she leaned forward. "I did not cross an ocean to be underestimated. If you want obedience, hire someone else." Silence followed. Heavy. Dangerous. Jaemin studied her for a long moment, then pressed a button on his desk. "Clear my schedule. She starts today." Amina barely concealed her surprise. By evening, she understood what she had stepped into. Meetings began before dawn and ended after midnight. Men with scars and quiet eyes passed through private offices. Entire corridors shut down without notice. Phones were surrendered. Doors locked. Jaemin slept in his office, more than his penthouse. His instructions were precise and unforgiving. Confidentiality was not a rule. It was survival. Her friend Naomi called that night, voice low with concern. "You need to leave." I looked him up. "No one stays long." Amina looked through the window at the city lights. "I can handle this." She proved it within days. She anticipated Jamin's needs before he spoke. She memorized schedules others feared. When a senior executive raised his voice at her, Jamin shut the meeting down without explanation. When security questioned her presence late at night, Jamin waved them off with a look that ended the conversation. He noticed her then, not as a risk, not as an employee, as something else. One evening, a storm trapped them in the building. Power flickered. Backup generators hummed. Amina worked quietly at her desk while Jamin reviewed reports nearby. The silence stretched, unfamiliar and charged. "You are not afraid," he said suddenly. "I am," she replied without looking up. "I just do not let it control me." Something shifted. The next days blurred into late nights and early mornings. Forced proximity became routine. She accompanied him to meetings she was not meant to hear. She stood beside him while men argued in coded language. She saw the edge beneath his calm when threats surfaced. And he saw her hesitation when danger brushed too close. One night, as they exited a private elevator, voices echoed down the corridor. Jamin's hand closed around Amina's wrist, pulling her into a shadowed office. The door shut quietly. Her breath caught as his body blocked the light. For a second, neither moved. His scent surrounded her. Clean. Controlled. Dangerous. Her heart raced, not with fear alone. The voices passed. Jamin did not release her immediately. His thumb rested against her pulse. He felt how fast it beat. "You should not be here," he murmured. "You hired me," she replied, voice softer than intended. Their eyes locked. The space between them felt too small. Amina shifted, and her lips brushed his jaw by accident. The contact was brief, unplanned, electric. She froze. Jamin inhaled sharply and stepped back at once, breaking the moment. His expression hardened. "Go home," he said. She left without speaking, her mind in chaos. The next day, rumors spread. Board members questioned her presence. A photographer snapped a blurred image of her exiting his car after a late meeting. Online whispers grew louder. Jamin's rivals paid attention. Amina tried to regain control, burying herself in work. But Jamin changed. He broke rules for her. He canceled meetings to ensure she left safely. He stood too close during briefings. His gaze followed her in rooms filled with danger. She told herself it was protection. Nothing more. Then the threats escalated. A coded message appeared on her desk. A warning disguised as routine paperwork. Jamin saw it instantly. His jaw tightened. "You are not coming to work tomorrow," he said. "I cannot disappear," she replied. "You can," he said quietly. "And you will." Their argument was sharp, heated, charged with something neither named. He moved closer without realizing it. She lifted her chin, refusing to retreat. When he spoke again, his voice was lower. "This world does not forgive attachments." "And yet," she said, "you keep me here." The words hung between them, dangerous and true. That night, as Amina lay awake in her apartment, she wondered when professionalism had turned into something else, when fear had mixed with desire, when a man built on control had begun breaking his own rules for her. And somewhere across the city, Kong Jamin stood by a window, watching Seoul burn with light, realizing too late that the one thing he had never allowed himself was now standing in the center of his world. Morning arrived without relief. Seoul woke loud and restless, but inside Amina's apartment, the silence pressed in. She replayed the moment in the office over and over. The brush of skin. The way Jamin had pulled back like he was the one in danger. She told herself it was exhaustion. Adrenaline. Nothing more. Yet her pulse betrayed her every time she imagined his voice low in the dark. At Hanseong Global, Jamin broke routine for the first time in years. He delayed his arrival. He rerouted meetings. He issued orders that kept Amina off public schedules. No explanation. Just decisions that rippled through the organization and unsettled men who were not used to uncertainty from him. When she finally arrived, security escorted her directly to his private floor. "You cannot isolate me," Amina said the moment the elevator doors closed behind her. Jamin did not look up from the tablet in his hand. "I can." "That does not make it right." His jaw tightened. "It makes it necessary." They stared at each other across the room. The tension was no longer subtle. It lived in the air, sharp and constant. "You are reacting," she said quietly. "That is not like you." He set the tablet down slowly. "You are the variable." The honesty unsettled her more than anger would have. Days passed, heavy with watchful silence. Amina noticed the extra guards. The vehicles that followed at a careful distance. The way Jamin positioned himself between her and unfamiliar faces. His protectiveness was not gentle. It was absolute. At a private dinner with foreign investors, a man let his gaze linger too long on Amina. The table fell quiet when Jamin's fork paused midair. "She is not part of the discussion," the man said casually. Jamin leaned back, eyes cold. "She is the reason this discussion exists." The man laughed nervously. He did not look at Amina again. Later, in the car, she exhaled sharply. "You did not need to do that." "Yes," he said. "I did." "You cannot control how people look at me." His eyes flicked toward her. "I control everything I can." The admission unsettled her. That night, they worked late again. Papers spread across the desk. Coffee went cold. Outside, rain blurred the city into streaks of light. Amina reached for a folder at the same time he did. Their hands collided. Fingers brushed. This time, neither pulled away immediately. "I am trying not to complicate this," she said softly. "So am I." Her laugh was quiet, disbelieving. "You are failing." His mouth curved just barely. "So are you." The moment stretched until the office door opened abruptly. A guard cleared his throat, eyes fixed on the floor. The spell broke. Amina stepped back, heart racing. The next day brought violence closer. A car followed her from the building. Not close enough to panic. Close enough to notice. When she reached her apartment, the same car idled across the street. She did not go inside. She walked past the entrance and called Jamin instead. He answered on the first ring. "Do not hang up," she said. "I am being followed." The line went silent for half a second. Then his voice sharpened. "Where are you?" She gave the address. "Stay visible," he ordered. "I am coming." He arrived in minutes that felt like hours. His car screeched to a stop. 2 black vehicles followed. The other car vanished into traffic. Jamin stepped out and crossed the street toward her. His expression was unreadable, but his hands shook slightly as he reached her. "You are hurt," he said. "I am fine." His hand lingered at her arm anyway. Relief crossed his face before he masked it. That night, he did not let her return to her apartment. "You are staying with me," he said. "That is not appropriate. That is irrelevant." His penthouse was high above the city. Clean lines. Controlled elegance. Security at every door. She stood near the window while he poured water, the city lights reflecting in the glass. "This changes things," she said. "It already has." She turned to face him. "I cannot be the reason you make mistakes." "You are not a mistake," he said without hesitation. The words landed heavier than a confession. They stood too close again. The tension built until it snapped without warning. When she shifted, her lips caught his cheek. He turned instinctively. Their mouths met briefly. Soft. Unplanned. A mistake made of breath and impulse. Amina pulled back instantly, shock flooding her. "I am sorry." Jamin's eyes darkened. "Do not apologize." He stepped away first this time, forcing distance between them. "This cannot happen." "I know," she whispered, but neither of them believed it. The following weeks blurred into danger and denial. Rivals tested boundaries. Messages grew bolder. Amina noticed unfamiliar faces near her building again. Jamin grew quieter, more controlled. His possessiveness sharpened into something dangerous. One evening, as she reviewed files alone in a conference room, The lights flickered. The door opened. A man she did not recognize stepped inside. "You should not be here," she said, standing. He smiled. "Your boss does not own the city." Before she could react, security flooded the room. Jamin appeared seconds later, fury barely contained. He dismissed everyone with a look, then turned to her. "You are not leaving my sight again," he said. "I will not live like a prisoner." "You will live," he snapped, then softened. "I cannot lose you." The admission hung between them, raw and dangerous. Amina looked away, heart pounding. She was falling. She knew it. And in Jamin's world, falling was the most dangerous thing she could do. Outside, unseen, plans were already moving. Someone had decided that proximity was not enough. That fear was not enough. And that if Kang Jamin could not be broken directly, the woman beside him would be. The city changed its rhythm when danger decided to stop waiting. Amina felt it before anyone warned her. The tension inside Hanseong Global sharpened. Conversations ended when she entered rooms. Phones were checked twice. Security rotated shifts without explanation. Jamin stopped letting her walk alone, even between offices. He did not explain. He did not need to. "You are tightening the walls," she said one morning as they reviewed schedules in his office. "I am sealing cracks," he replied. "You cannot lock the world out." "I can try." Their arguments were quieter now, heavier. Each one carried the unspoken truth that neither of them was walking away. The attempted breach happened on a Tuesday. Amina had insisted on visiting a satellite office despite Jamin's resistance. She won the argument only because she refused to move from his doorway until he agreed. The drive was supposed to be routine. 2 vehicles. Cleared route. 15 minutes. It unraveled in under 30 seconds. Traffic stalled suddenly. Horns blared. A delivery truck swerved too close. The escort vehicle braked hard. The impact jolted Amina forward. Before anyone could react, the rear door opened. Hands grabbed her. She screamed once before something pressed over her mouth. The world tilted. The sound of gunfire echoed somewhere distant. She fought, remembering every move she had practiced. She bit down hard. Someone cursed. Her elbow struck ribs. The grip tightened anyway. Then darkness. When she woke, the air smelled damp and metallic. Her wrists were bound. Her head throbbed. The room was dim, lit by a single hanging bulb that swayed slightly. She forced herself to breathe. Footsteps approached. A man stepped into the light. Tall. Calm. Smiling like he had all the time in the world. "Miss Brooks," he said. "You are more trouble than expected." "Then you miscalculated," she replied, keeping her voice steady. Hans Sung-ho studied her with interest. "You should have left when you had the chance." "So should you," she said. "He will come." The man laughed softly. "That is the point." Hours passed in fragments. Threats disguised as conversation. Questions she refused to answer. Promises she ignored. She stalled whenever possible. She observed everything. The exits. The guards. The way one man limped slightly. The loose bolt near the doorframe. She waited. Across the city, Kang Jae-min was no longer controlled. The moment he saw the damaged vehicle, something inside him snapped cleanly. Orders flew. Phones rang. Doors slammed. He tore through the network he ruled with ruthless precision. Every favor called. Every debt collected. No mercy. "She breathes," he said into the phone. "Or the city bleeds." By the time night fell, he had a location. The warehouse sat near abandoned rail lines. Quiet. Isolated. Too obvious. Jamin did not hesitate. He arrived with men who did not ask questions and weapons that were never registered. Inside, Amina heard the first shot. Then another. The chaos erupted. Shouts. Footsteps. A door burst open. She lunged forward, slamming her bound wrists against the bolt she had loosened earlier. Pain shot through her arms, but the metal gave. She tore free just as the room filled with smoke. Jamin appeared through it like a storm given form. He reached her in seconds, hands on her face, searching for injuries. "You are here," she breathed. His relief was visible only for a heartbeat. Then it vanished behind fury. He cut her restraints and pulled her into his chest. "I told you," he said hoarsely. "I told you not to argue with me." She clung to him, trembling despite herself. "You came. I will always come." They did not linger. The building burned behind them as they left. The message was clear. This was not over. After that night, denial collapsed. Amina stayed at the penthouse under constant guard. Jaemin barely slept. When he did, it was on the couch outside her room. She noticed. He did not deny it. One evening, unable to sleep, she stepped into the living room. He was awake, staring out at the city. "You do not have to do this," she said. "I do. You cannot protect me from everything. I can protect you from this." She stepped closer. "At what cost?" He turned to her. "Anything." The honesty frightened her. Days later, she found herself standing too close again. A shared laugh. A lingering look. When the lights flickered during a storm, she reached for him without thinking. His arms came around her automatically. Safe. Solid. Their lips met slowly this time. Not by accident. Not rushed. It was brief, but charged with everything they refused to say. Amina pulled back first, breath uneven. "This is wrong," she whispered. "Yes," he agreed. "But it is real." She turned away, heart pounding. She was falling into something that would not forgive weakness. Outside, new alliances formed. Enemies regrouped. And somewhere beyond the walls, someone decided that kidnapping had been a warning, not a conclusion. The city did not forget the fire. News outlets called it an industrial accident. Rumors told a different story. Inside Hanseong Global, silence became law. No one asked where Amina had been. No one mentioned the warehouse. But everyone felt the shift. Kang Jaemin had crossed a line that could not be erased. Amina returned to work 2 weeks later. The building looked the same. The people did not. Eyes followed her more openly now. Some with curiosity. Some with fear. Some with resentment. She felt at the moment she stepped out of the elevator onto the executive floor. Jaemin stood waiting. "You did not need to come back yet," he said. "I will not hide," she replied. His gaze searched her face, lingering a second too long. "Stay close." That became the new rule. Meetings moved around her presence. Conversations paused until she sat. Jaemin no longer corrected people who deferred to her. When she spoke, he listened. When she disagreed, he considered. It unsettled the board more than the violence ever had. One afternoon, a senior director slammed his folder shut. "This is inappropriate. She has too much access." Jaemin leaned forward. "She has exactly what I give her. And if that compromises the company, it strengthens it." Jaemin replied calmly. Amina felt the weight of every eye in the room. She did not shrink. Later, alone in his office, she confronted him. "You are daring them to challenge you. They already are. And me." He stepped closer. "No one touches you." "That is not how this works," she said. "The more you protect me openly, the more dangerous I become." He studied her, conflicted. "You think I do not know that?" The tension between them grew heavier, no longer fueled only by fear. The line they avoided pressed closer every day. At night, the penthouse felt quieter than it should. Amina worked from the dining table while Jaemin handled calls from the balcony. She listened to his voice shift from calm to lethal, then back again before he stepped inside. One evening, she found him staring at a photograph on his phone. "Who is that?" she asked. "My father," he replied. "He knows." The meeting happened 3 days later. Chairman Kang did not raise his voice. He did not need to. His presence filled the room with expectation and judgment. He studied Amina as if weighing an object, not a person. "You are a liability," he said. Amina met his gaze. "I am an asset." Jaemin stiffened. "Enough." The older man raised a hand. "If she stays, this must end correctly. Publicly. Permanently." Amina understood before the words came. "Marriage." Her breath caught. Jaemin turned sharply. "No." "It is the only way," his father replied. You have blurred lines that cannot remain blurred. The silence that followed was suffocating. That night, Amina stood alone in the guest room, staring at the city lights. She had walked into danger willingly. She had not planned to lose herself in it. Jamin knocked softly and entered without waiting for permission. "You do not have to do this," he said. "I know." His voice lowered. "I will end this if you ask." She laughed quietly. "And pretend nothing happened." He did not answer. She turned to face him. "If I say yes, it is not because I am trapped. It is because I choose it."
His jaw tightened.
"Do not choose this out of fear." "I am not," she said. "I am choosing you. That is what scares me." The wedding was set quickly. Tradition demanded speed. Public legitimacy demanded spectacle. The day arrived wrapped in white silk and controlled smiles. Cameras flashed. Guests whispered. Amina walked beside Jamin with her spine straight and her expression calm. Her hands trembled only once when his fingers brushed hers. The ceremony barely began before chaos returned. A scream cut through the crowd. A flash of movement. Jamin reacted instantly, pulling Amina behind him as guards surged forward. Panic rippled. She heard the crack of glass, the shouts, the sharp commands. They moved together without thinking. She followed his grip, heart pounding but mind clear. This was no longer fear. It was survival. When it ended, the hall stood damaged, but standing.
So, did they?
That night, in the quiet aftermath, Amina sat on the edge of the bed, still in her ceremonial dress. Jamin removed his jacket slowly, watching her like she might disappear. "You should sleep," he said. "I cannot." He hesitated, then sat beside her. Their shoulders touched. She did not move away. "We crossed another line today," she said. "We crossed it a long time ago." She turned to him. "I am still afraid." "So am I." The admission stunned her. He reached out, stopping just short of touching her face. "I have never been afraid of losing control. And now I am afraid of losing you." The honesty broke something open. Amina leaned forward before she could think. Their lips met again, slow and deliberate. She pulled back first, breath uneven, heart racing. "This changes everything," she whispered. "Yes," he said. "It already has." As dawn crept over the city, Amina lay awake beside him, staring at the ceiling. She had stepped fully into his world now. There was no returning to the woman she had been. Outside, unseen forces shifted again. Alliances fractured. Enemies watched. And somewhere in the shadows, someone decided that the wedding had been a mistake that needed correcting. If you are feeling this tension building, this is the moment to pause and ask yourself what comes next. Like this video if you're caught in their story. Subscribe now because what happens after this changes everything. Marriage did not bring peace. It sharpened the edges. The morning after the ceremony, Seoul woke to headlines filled with speculation and carefully worded praise. The images showed elegance, unity, tradition. None showed the broken glass, the panic, or the way Kang Jae-min had positioned his body like a shield without thinking. None showed how Amina's hands had stayed steady even while fear rattled inside her chest. Inside the penthouse, reality settled in quietly. Amina woke early, the unfamiliar weight of silk sheets reminding her where she was. She sat up slowly, listening. The city hummed below. The bedroom door was slightly open. Jamin's voice carried from the living room, low and controlled, speaking to someone who did not deserve patience. "No," he said. "You will not test me again." The call ended. He turned and found her watching him. "You should have slept longer," he said. "So should you." He studied her for a moment, then nodded once.
"Come.
We have work." The words sounded different now. At Hanseong Global, the shift was immediate. Staff bowed deeper. Board members smiled tighter. No one questioned why Amina sat at the head table during strategy meetings. Her role was no longer ambiguous. She reviewed contracts, redirected operations, and closed vulnerabilities with a precision that surprised even Jamin. "You think like a strategist," he said one afternoon as they walked through a secured corridor. I think like someone who refuses to be powerless, she replied. He glanced at her with something close to admiration. The detective appeared again before the week ended. Seo Jin-woo waited outside the building, hands in his pockets, eyes sharp. Amina spotted him first. He is back, she said quietly. Jaemin's expression did not change. He never left. The conversation was brief and tense. Jin-woo spoke of accountability, of consequences, of lines crossed. His gaze lingered on Amina with calculated intent. You chose a dangerous man, he said. Amina met his eyes. I chose my own life. Later that night, she confronted Jaemin. He will not stop. No, Jaemin agreed. He will escalate. So will we. The words surprised both of them. Threats followed. Subtle at first. A delayed shipment. A compromised account. A warning delivered through silence. Amina felt the pressure building again, familiar but heavier now. This time, it was not just her life at risk. When she found out she was pregnant, the world tilted. She sat alone in the bathroom, test resting on the counter, hands shaking. Fear hit first. Then disbelief. Then something warmer and far more dangerous.
Hope.
She did not tell him immediately. She watched him instead. The way he moved through rooms. The way his voice softened when he spoke to her alone. The way he touched her wrist lightly when danger brushed too close. That night, she finally spoke. I need to tell you something, she said. Jaemin stilled. You are scaring me. I am scared too. When she told him, silence filled the room. He did not speak for a long moment. Then he knelt in front of her, resting his forehead against her hands. I will end the world for you, he said quietly. She swallowed. I do not want a world built only on fear. His eyes lifted to hers. Then we build something else. The attempt came 2 days later. A routine drive. A cleared route. A moment of calm. Then impact. Shattered glass. Screeching metal. Jaemin shielded her instinctively, body over hers as guards responded with precision. The attackers fled. The message did not need translation. That night, Amina cried for the first time since arriving in Seoul. Jaemin held her without words, hands steady, breathing controlled for both of them. I cannot lose you, she whispered. You will not, he replied. I will not allow it. The months that followed reshaped everything. Hanseong Global shifted toward legitimacy, without losing power. Old alliances were severed. New ones formed quietly. Amina took charge of restructuring, her name appearing on documents that once terrified men twice her age. Jaemin let her lead, where he once ruled alone. Their daughter was born during a quiet dawn, the city softened by mist. Jaemin held her like something sacred, eyes unguarded for the first time in his life. This is our future, Amina said. Yes, he agreed. And no one touches it. Years passed. The empire evolved. The danger never disappeared. It simply learned to keep its distance. Their love did not erase the darkness. It learned how to live with it, how to shape it into something survivable. Amina stood one evening by the window, watching Seoul glow. Jaemin joined her, their daughter asleep between them. You never ran, he said. I never wanted to, she replied. He kissed her temple gently. A quiet promise. A dangerous one. If this story pulled you in, now is the moment. Like this video if you felt the tension. Comment and tell us what you think happens next. And subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next chapter. Because in their world, love is never the end. It is only the beginning.